Hey folks, we're going to talk about track. We get this question a lot. What kind of works with what scales of track are there, and basically compatibility. Compatibility relative to scale, okay? So we have a bunch of different things here. We have this white track. This is Carrera Go track. It was in a special set that's supposed to be a rally snow stage or whatever. It's super slippery. Anyway, so this is Carrera Go. We have current Scalex track. We have current Carrera track. And we have slotcar track. So we have a variety of cars here that are going to represent, well, they do represent the scales. We have Carrera 124. This is obviously a digital car. We have an SCX. We have 1/32 scale. We have tiny 1/32 scale, two Scalex minis, and then we have as small as I go. This is 1/50th scale. These are Carrera first Ferrari F40s. These are fun little models that they made for the first set, or they make for the first set. Just a little smaller than the regular Go cars, but I mean, they're essentially the Go cars. These are battery operated cars. The only difference between these cars and the regular Go cars is the motor. I think it's a 6-volt motor, although I'm sure someone will be happy to correct me. I'm not really sure, maybe 3. Anyway, doesn't matter. We're talking about scale here. So, what works with what? Obviously, 1/24 scale car is designed to work on Carrera's large scale track. Now, Carrera's track will accommodate digital and analog, okay, 1/32 scale cars, and 1/24 scale cars. That's what you can run on here. You can also run, because it's even smaller, you can run 1/43 scale. And for this video, these are acting as 1/43 scale. So if you want to go smaller, you can. 1/24 is about as big as we can get. So there you go. So so the Carrera track, which is their 1/24, 1/32, digital 1/32, evolution, whatever you want to call it, standard straights and curves are just analog. They're just track, rather. They work with analog and they work with digital. There's no wiring, there's no lane change in this thing. It's just a basic curve. These are the standard curves, by the way. They don't get any tighter than this. So again, 1/24 scale, 1/32 scale, and 1/48 scale, 1/43 scale, sorry, all work on Carrera track. And again, digital and analog, curves and straights are the same. We're going to move this off to the side so we can clean this up a little bit. So, slotcar, 1/24 scale. Now, obviously, I have borders on here, so it makes it nice and wide, but you're going to be able to get, two kind of smaller cars, two regular sized cars on this. Maybe not Group C, really big like BRM cars, but you're definitely going to be able to run, kind of mid-sized cars on this. And you're going to be able to run, obviously, 1/32 scale. And you're going to be able to run 1/43 scale. So there's a lot that you could run on this track. Now we're getting progressively narrower, right? So slotcar's track, currently slotcar's track, they only have analog track that you can buy. They only have an analog set that they import into the US. There's just one. So you're going to be able to make this digital, but not just yet. Not just yet easily, let's say that. So let's put that off to the side. So analog cars, yet probably 1/24 scale. Again, as long as they're a little narrower, like more common, like Trans Am kinds of cars. Certainly 1/25 scale, which is even narrower. It's like the hard body stuff that we race at my club. That's going to be able to work on there. I keep bumping these things. Okay, getting even smaller now. So here we go. We got even narrower. You know, there's the narrowness. Can you see? Yep, I'll turn it that way. You can see how much narrower a standard piece, there it is without just the standard piece of Polycar is, and then the even narrower Scalelectric wide Scalelectric curve. So now we're going to talk about Scalex. So you can't get 124 scale cars on here. First of all, well, this guide, it doesn't want to go through here. As you can see, it sticks, and it stuck. That's a great example. It's not meant, the Carrera guide, and this is a standard guide, by the way. You can see this guide is too big really to fit into the Scalelectric track. Can you see that? Sort of. It jams because in this tight radius, the radius is too tight and it grips the front and the back of grips the guide, and you can barely push it through. It's the standard guide, not the red guide, not the 85309 special guide that comes in the analog cars. That one will fit a little better, but it's not a guarantee that it's going to work with the standard R1 curve, or with the R1 curve from Scalelectric, I should say. These are the R1 curves right here, guys. So here's a good example. Not only is the car too wide, I mean, first of all, Scalelectric track is so narrow, but not only that, but the guide itself can't even fit. It can fit maybe, now it's really tight. It will fit through this, and you never go backwards with a slot car. Pet peeve of mine. But it won't even, and it jams on this one for some reason. Oh, because there's no inner liner in Scalelectric track, so the inside of the track is grabbing. It's not pushed in the whole way, and you can see it. Well, you can't really see. It just scored the guide really badly. I don't think the track is seated the whole way down there. Anyway, so it doesn't, you can barely push it through, and I know you can't really see this very well, but it barely goes through the R1 curve. So this is the standard guide on a Carrera car. It's really not going to go through the R1 curve. Not real well. The red guide might go through okay, but still, you're not going to be able to do it sometimes easily. It's part of the problem with mixing brands here, guys. 1/32 scale car from SCX. Now this is going to go through SCX cars and Scalelectric cars. That's why I don't have a Scalelectric car here. They were basically designed to work on the same type of track, an unlined slot. Like there's, what I mean by the lining in the Polycar and in the Carrera track, there's a wall that's plastic in between the rails, a wall on each side of the slot of plastic. That isn't the case with Scalelectric. It's just a channel, and on either side of it is just the electric rail, just the metal rail. But, you know, SCX cars, Scalelectric cars, slotted cars with a nice thin guide, with most guides should be able to work okay, as long as it's not too terribly deep, because some of these track pieces, it's a little uneven. So you're going to be able to run 43rd scale stuff on here. You have to cut the guide down a little, the guide pin down a little bit on these. Like I said, these are the 50th scale. Yeah, this isn't really going through very easily either. So it's the narrowness of the slot. Obviously, this is going to go right through because you have a nice wide channel here. Just going to zip right through. So it's really the narrowness of the slot. So here we got Carrera Go. Now again, this is just white track. It's the same exact dimensions as the black track. So obviously You're not going to be able to run 1/24 scale on here. I mean, duh. It's just not meant for that. This is designed to be used with, obviously, 1/43 scale cars, small cars. Basically, their Carrera First stuff is slightly smaller. It's meant to be in the Carrera First track. So these are going to work. 43rd scale cars are going to work on this just fine. 1/32 scale cars, no. As you can see, the CUDA, which is a fairly wide car, is going to take up a fair amount of room on this. Can you see that? Yeah, you can see that. It's just not designed to run 1/32 scale cars on track that is designed for 1/43 scale cars. You can maybe get away with running, these are Scalex Mini Coopers. Yep, you can see that. Yeah, not really either, right? It's not really designed for that. So if you have Go track, it's really designed for one car. It's designed for the Carrera Go cars and SCX Compact, if you can find them. Not very easy to find these days, here in the US anyway. It's really not meant for 1/32 scale cars. So if you have Go track, you're fairly limited to what you can race on it. Again, maybe you can race some smaller cars. It's really not designed for that. Scalex is designed to run Scalex cars on the track. The Carrera guide is, as you saw from this very kind of ham-handed description here, it's really not meant to run, especially on the R1 curves. Even with the red guide I've seen can grab in these curves, and it's really best if you have Scalex track. I mean, you can run Carrera cars, but with the R1 curves, and I had talked with the guy that helped design the stuff at Carrera, the technical guy, not one of the product managers, the technical guy there. And he said, you know, there's basically no way to guarantee that even the red guide, the 85309 guide, will work with the R1 curve. There just isn't. So that's why, personally, rather than suggesting Carrera track these days, because it really takes up a tremendous amount of room, even at the narrowest, the tightest radius, Polycar track, it's really the way to go. You're going to be able to run most 1/24 scale cars on here. Certainly 1/25 scale cars if you're doing cars with model bodies, you know, the AMT, MPC, whatever you got, Earl cars, anything. You're going to be able to run those cars like with the H&R chassis, the brass chassis. You're going to be able to run these on the Polycar track. You can see it's got a this is the broader radius, this is the tightest radius, and then you got a nice line slot like you have with the Carrera track. Carrera track is good track, it just takes up an awful lot of room. Anyway, so this has been a little discussion of track scale with regard to car scale. I hope this has been helpful. Thanks to LEB for supporting this video, and see you all again soon.